My name is Lydia Klamfel and I am chemistry and biology teacher. I will teach you about air pollution, more precisely about particulate pollution. I have always been interested in environmental topics and I will try to pass on some of my interest to you. When we decided to move to Varaždin, one of the important things was the air quality in Varaždin. Since we lived under the mountain with clear and fresh air until then, we wanted the same environment for our children. The food industry is quite developed in Varaždin, the production of meat and juices and dairy industry. Does it affect air quality? Based on the smell, we can easily conclude that the air is not really amazing. But what do the experts think about it? To begin with, we will look at the data on the interactive map, air quality in Varaždin. The air quality index is used for reporting daily air quality. It tells you how clean or polluted your air is and what associated health effects may be a concern for you. On this map, you can see air pollution data for the area we are interested in. Let's look at the data for today. According to the legend, it turns out that the air is moderately polluted, especially if you compare this data with the data for the same period of a larger industrial center. In order to be able to understand the data, we will read on the maps and be able to take future steps and behave in certain situations. We will learn something about particulate air pollution. According to World Health Organization, air pollution is the contamination of the indoor or outdoor air by a range of gases and solids that modify its natural characteristics. Clean, dry air consists primarily of nitrogen and oxygen. 78% of nitrogen by volume and 21% of oxygen by volume. The remaining 1% is a mixture of other gases, mostly argon, along with trace amounts of carbon dioxide, methane, hydrogen, helium, and more. Water vapor is also a normal component of the atmosphere. There is 6 major air pollutants that have been designated by the Environmental Protection Agency as criteria pollutants. Criteria meaning that the concentrations of these pollutants in the atmosphere are useful as indicators of overall air quality. Pollutants are carbon monoxide, nitrogen oxides, sulfur dioxide, ozone, lead, and particle matter. Since we can say a lot about air pollution, we focus on a part of air pollution which is particulate air pollution. Particle pollution, or PM, is a term for a mixture of solid and liquid droplets suspended in the air. Some particles are big enough or dark enough to see, so you can often see smoke in the air. Others are so small that you can't see them in the air. Particle pollution come in many sizes and shapes and can be made up of a number of different components, including acids such as sulfuric acid, inorganic compounds such as ammonium sulfate, ammonium nitrate, and sodium chloride, organic chemicals, soot, metal, soil, or dust particles, and biological materials such as pollen and mold spores. As well as containing acid, particulate matter can contain hazardous elements such as arsenic, beryllium, cadmium, chromium, lead, manganese, and nickel. Particles that are 10 micrometers in diameter or smaller pose the greatest problems because they can't pass through the nose and throat enter the lungs. These particles can affect the lungs and heart, cause serious health effects. Larger particles, greater than 10 micrometers, are generally of less concern because they usually do not enter the lungs, although they can still irritate the eyes, nose, and throat. Particles of concern can be grouped in 2 main categories. Coarse particles, also known as PM 10 to 2.5 particles with diameters larger than 2.5 micrometer and smaller than or equal to 10 micrometer in diameter. Coarse particles can come from mold spores, bacteria, dust, smoke, viral particles. Fine particles, also known as PM2.5 particles, generally 2.5 micrometer in diameter or smaller, ultrafine and nanoparticles, which are classified as having diameters less than 0.1 micrometer. Finer coarse particles differ by their sources, composition, and health effects. Fine particles can come from natural or human-made sources like vehicle exhaust, wildfires, power plant emission, or other combustion activities. Particulate pollution is found everywhere, not just in haze, smoke, and dust, but also in air that looks clean. Particle pollution can occur year-round and present air quality problems at concentrations found in many major cities. Some particles can remain in the atmosphere for days or even weeks. Because of that, particulate pollution generated in one area can travel thousands of kilometers and influence the air quality of regions far from the original source. Particle pollution levels can be especially high in the following circumstances: near busy roads, in urban areas, especially during rush hour and in industrial areas, when there is smoke in the air from wood stoves, fireplaces, campfires, or, well, wildfires. When the weather is calm, allowing air pollution to build up. For example, hot humidity days with stagnant air have much higher particle concentrations than days with air partially scrubbed by rain or snow. Because of their small size, fine particles outdoor can penetrate into homes and buildings. Therefore, high outdoor particulate pollution levels can elevate indoor particulate pollution concentrations. In some locations where wood is burned for heat, particulate pollution levels can be especially high during wintertime inversions. An inversion trap the smoke close to the ground, allowing particulate pollution levels to increase before the inversion lifts. The air we breathe indoors and outdoors always contains particulate pollution. Some particles, such as dust, dirt, soot, or smoke, are large enough to be seen with the naked eye. Others are so small they can only be detected using an electron microscope. As I already mentioned, particles that are 10 micrometers in diameter or smaller pose the greatest problems. These smaller particles pass through the nose and throat and enter the lungs. Air pollution is caused by solid and liquid particles and certain gases that are suspended in the air. These particles and gases can come from car and truck exhaust, factories, dust, pollen, mold spores, volcanoes, and wildfires. The solid and liquid particles suspended in air are called aerosols. There are two different kinds of sources of particulate pollution: primary and secondary. Primary particles are emitted directly from source, such as construction sites, unpaved roads, smokestacks, or fires. Other particles, known as secondary particles, form in complicated atmospheric reaction involving chemicals such as sulfur dioxides and nitrogen oxides that are emitted from power plants, industries, and automobiles. Secondary particles make up most of the fine particle pollution. Cooking, smoking, dusting, and vacuuming can also produce particle pollution, particularly in indoor settings. So if you're not in the mood to cook, dusting, or vacuum, say you're helping reduce air pollution. The biggest contributors of air pollution are burning fossil fuels, industry sources, and power plants to generate power, as well as fossil fuel motor vehicles. The biggest contributors of air pollution are countries that have emitted the biggest amount of carbon dioxide in total since the Industrial Revolution. Countries that have emitted the biggest amount of carbon dioxide, respectively, are China, the United States, India, and Russia. Causes of particulate air pollution locally come from car and trucks exhaust, factories, dust, pollen, and mold spores, from households, cooking, smoking, dusting, and vacuuming. In Varaždin, there is an incinerator for biological waste as well as silos for grain storage. Along with grain, there is always mold that produce spores whose role is to spread the mold. They are light and easily transported by air. Some molds produce aflatoxins, which have been proven to be toxic, and some are carcinogenic. According to the regulations, waste incinerators and silos are required to have built-in filters and must control the air they emit. Let's take a look at the air quality in Varaždin in the past few days. If we look at the air pollution data for August 17, we can see that the air quality was moderately good. PM 2.5 concentration was 3.6 according to World Health Organization. It is recommended that more sensitive groups of citizens avoid outdoor activities, and it is not recommended to ventilate the premises. Already in August 21st, after 2 days of rain, the air quality is good. It is recommended to ventilate the premises and allow vulnerable groups outdoor activities. On this graph, you can also see predictions about air pollution in the coming days. Here is historic air quality graph for Varaždin in IQA. Here is historic air quality graph for Varaždin in PM 2.5. In this photo, you can see what the collected rainwater looks like after the first day when the air quality was moderate. On this graph, you can see what the air quality is like for the whole country, for example, Croatia. Interesting facts. Which country have the cleanest air? Here is the places with the lowest average PM 2.5 concentration in the study. New Caledonia, US Virgin Islands, Puerto Rico. Which countries have the dirtiest air? Here are the places with the highest average PM 2.5 concentration according to the report. Bangladesh, Chad, Pakistan. Which city has the cleanest air in the world? Zurich in Switzerland, ranked as the least polluted city in the world. Let's find out what the air quality is like in the city where you live. Look for information in the link below. Click on the link in the search engine, enter the name of the city you come from, and read the data on particulate air pollution. Ground-based air monitoring stations is continuing to grow, but there are still large parts of the world which have no access to real-time public air quality measurements. IQ Air is a Swiss-based air quality technology company empowering individuals, organizations, and communities to breathe clean air through information and collaboration. Since its founding in 1963, IQ Air has been a global leader and operates in more than 100 countries worldwide. Art Visual provides some estimate IQE data for locations which are lacking ground-based measurements to help guide actions to protect health. The IQA estimations are calculated based on satellite PM 2.5 data. On the Art Visual app and website, we take care to clearly show which data is estimated and which data comes from ground-based monitors. For those who want to know more, Watch the movie at the link below. Repeat the short essential topics and find out how with PM2.5 the color of light changes to orange. On the link below is an example of research on the health effects caused by particulate air pollution. The research is one of the few and was conducted in China. China is one of the few countries with the highest levels of particulate matter in the world. Only a small number of health studies in particulate matter have been conducted in China. The PAPA project includes only two Chinese cities, Shanghai and Wuhan. There is still a need for particle analysis in more cities in China. In this presentation, I use information and citations from following sources. Thank you and goodbye.